welcome back to another episode of Happiness Matters, the show, with me, Beanie, and Mo, the service dog, who really wants to play right now because we have a new friend here. Today I have my friend here, Nina Durfee, and her company is called Say It Simply, right?
Correct.
So Nina is an editor, and she's actually my editor. She edited my book. So, but we're not here to talk about, all of that. Well, a little bit, really.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe about why I do it.
Yes. So, Nina's always loved words. So, and I would love for you to share a little bit, because I know it started at a very, very young age for you, right?
Yes.
You said you were
4 years old.
I don't remember 4. I don't even remember 40, but that's a different story. But I can't even imagine, because I know kids are cruel, and when you're a little different and loving words, and it's like, I was a kind of nerdy kind of kid, and we'd get picked on, so I can't imagine it was not, but 4. 4.
Yes.
How wow, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it's a very clear memory. I was lying on my belly on the living room floor. There was probably TV on, I don't know. But my mom walked into the living room, and she had a tablet. It's a big tablet. It had the cup.
Well, okay, guys, we're talking paper tablet.
This is a paper
we're not talking
tablet.
like electronic tablet.
Yes, and it had a cover on it that had a picture of an American Indian in a big headdress, and she gave me a big fat yellow pencil with it.
You might have to speak up a little so we can.
Okay. So I got the big fat yellow pencil, and I got the tablet, and I flip up the page, and what I see is a blank page, and I know in that moment that I can make anything I want.
That is awesome.
And
powerful, really powerful.
Well,
it's like,
I don't know what it is, but the thing is that it becomes very clear to me very quickly that I am happier precisely carving the letters of the alphabet than I would be trying to draw a picture.
Interesting.
And so that kind of started it. And then as I was in school and stuff, I liked spelling bees. I was very good at English grammar. I could diagram sentences.
Not me. Not in German, not in English, not in French.
But you know what you want to say.
Right.
So, and that's
and roughly
that's
I know if it's right or wrong, for the most part, but I couldn't tell you why.
So, you have a gift of being able to speak clearly.
We call it the gift of gab.
But you know what you want to
right.
say, and you say it clearly. I tell people I write gooder than I talk.
See, okay, real quick, fun fact. So, of course, I'm at Nina Networking, story of my friends here, And when we met, because I use the word gooder, because it's funner. And my husband and everybody's like, gooder is not a word. I said, it is for me. So imagine my delight when I meet Nina. I found out she's an editor, words are her thing, and she uses the word gooder.
Now, I will edit it out of your writing, but
it made me so happy. Well, I don't write it down, but I say it too. So because it made me so happy. So anyway, because you write gooder.
So yeah, I write gooder than I talk. I loved spelling bee. When I was in high school, I took 2 years of Latin, and the reason I loved that is because it gave me a foundation for what do our words mean, and it just made me feel like I had an expansive understanding of communication.
Because words matter.
Because words matter, and I found that they matter no more significantly anywhere than they do in the legal profession. And right?
No, I can't imagine. No. Yes.
So that's what. When I was out of high school, I wanted to be a lawyer, but
I could see that though.
I said, okay, I'm not sure I want to make that commitment, so I started out as a legal secretary.
So what you're saying is you have commitment issues?
I'm
joking.
Yeah.
Couldn't resist that one.
True. No. But anyway, as a legal secretary, I ended up, staying kind of in that position for decades. But what I loved about it, the reason I chose the legal field is because I love the precision of the legal language. And it fascinates me to know that a comma can make the difference between innocence and guilt. Now, I can't give you a specific.
God, that's powerful. Oh my gosh.
Powerful?
I mean, that really is.
And so, so I kind of tip way over on the end of the scale that that's not right, we gotta fix it.
So, real quick, I don't know if, I'm sure you've seen this, I don't even know where I saw it or heard it or whatever, but there's I think it was a college professor or something, and he gave a sentence to the class. Do you know what I'm talking about? And he told the class, punctuate it the way you see fit.
Right.
And the sentence, I believe, was, men without women are nothing.
Okay.
So depending on where you put the punctuation and the
Yes.
comma, huge
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
Huge difference.
Absolutely.
And it was
difference.
fun to see because, of course, the males put it, men, comma,
Right.
uh,
Without women.
no, why not? No, it was women without men are nothing.
Oh, women without men.
I think.
Okay.
It was not, I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it was clearly,
So,
the
with
difference.
with no punctuation, women without men are nothing.
right,
But women,
comma,
without men,
comma.
are not. That's a whole different. it's a
Right.
different
I mean,
thing.
it was just, when I read this, I was like, oh, maybe I should learn that grammatic stuff, but nah.
Anyway.
Anyway, but yeah.
Well, anyway.
But yeah,
so,
it makes a big
yeah,
difference.
It does make.
But
a
I never
difference.
thought about it in the legal sense as like, with that little comma,
Yeah.
that the way you put it, guilty or innocent.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's huge.
That's huge. That
That's
is very huge.
So I gotta say I miss some comments once in a while, but
Yeah, you know.
we all miss some stuff. But yeah, so when I got tired of being in the legal field, I became a life coach, and then I started journaling. I'm writing and just trying to figure out who the heck am I and why does my life suck. And not that it really did, but it felt like it at that point.
Right.
And
Because we all feel lost sometimes.
right?
And it's like, what the heck is happening? Why? Because you're not in your flow. But
well, yeah, and
Right.
it was like I just knew there was something more. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I've done this. Now there
oh,
gotta
I've
be
been there,
something
done that,
more,
got the shirt.
right?
Yeah.
So, as a life coach, I wrote a book that the reason I wrote it is because I thought if I don't have a book, nobody's going to take me seriously.
Mm.
So I had to write this book, and it was labor intensive, and I worked
And what's
at
the
it,
title of your book? That book?
That book is called Full Bloom: 7 Practical Steps to Get What You Want.
Oh, I like that.
And, just as if I knew. Right?
That's why I wrote Happiness Matters. Unleash your superpower in 7 easy steps, because I shared what I did to get my happy, so I get that.
So that was that, and when it finally got published, it's like, whew, okay, that's done, and it actually kind of felt a little bit anticlimactic. But it was good. I had something in my
But
hand.
I kind of get that. I mean, it felt great when I had my book launch, but what really felt amazing when I hit send, and I sent my manuscript to you. The night before I said I would send it. To me, that was like
that was the big moment.
that was
finished.
the biggest moment for me in the whole, with my book.
It was an accomplishment.
Yes,
Huge.
that to me that was the biggest one. So everything after that, it's like, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I feel great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. So, yeah.
And then so then a little bit later than that, I partnered with another life coach, and we offered Wisdom Well retreats.
Okay.
Self-discovery retreats for women. And,
Nice.
And she wanted to write a book together. And I was so burnt out. I was like, no, God, I don't want to go through that again. And she said, it could be fun. And I'm going, oh, it could be fun. Okay, fine. So I had a whole different mindset about this. I had
Wording matters.
a whole different perspective.
Wording.
Well, the idea with this one was I don't have to do this. I can do it because it'll be fun. As opposed to the other one felt like, if I don't do this, nobody's going to take me seriously.
Well, and on this one real quick, you know, guys, if we all go through life, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and I have to do that, stop that. Instead say, I get to.
Yeah.
It's say, I get to. And it was like, it was one of the chamber breakfast, one of the ladies, she goes, oh yay, I get to pay my bills. And I laughed and I said, yeah, because you have the money to do it.
Yeah.
It just shifts everything.
It does.
You get to do it.
Yeah, it's
So,
a privilege. It's
So
a privilege.
so what you're saying is like the first was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, and then, oh yeah, well, it could be fun. Well, yeah, sure. So it's a whole different attitude.
It is a whole different attitude, and that experience between those two books is something that informs how I coach with people that don't, you know, that are needing help writing a book, because they focus on the, well, I don't know how, or it's going to be hard, or what's, you know, how do I do this, or what if it.
And what's the title of that book?
So the second book that I wrote with my co-partner is Feel Good No Matter What, and it's 52 inspiring reflections to awaken the life you love.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I like that.
Her name is Anna Goldsworthy. She's a good friend and an excellent coach. And while we were writing that book together, she would write a chapter and I'd write a chapter and back and forth. And every time she wrote a chapter, I'd say, do you think we could say it this way instead? It's like I just am this hopeless editor.
That editor person in you
I
just couldn't help yourself.
Exactly, I could not. And she always said yes, and you know, one day she said, you know, every time you do that, you make it so clear and so much better. Why aren't you doing this for a living?
She actually said better, not gooder.
She said better.
I'm sorry, I just sometimes I just can't help myself.
So, you know, that was for me, it was the dummy slap moment. Why aren't I doing this for a living? And it's because, and here's, I think, something that is common with everybody. We don't understand that what comes so easy and so natural for us is a gift to somebody else.
Right.
It's not everybody can do that.
Well, it's between that and then the limiting beliefs, the self-doubts, I'm not
Yeah.
good enough, nobody will ever listen, and da-da-da. I mean, all of that stuff, which, you know, I get that. I totally get that. Been there, done that. You know, until I said,
Yeah.
and is a word.
It actually does have a spelling.
Okay, what's the spelling?
I would go PLHHHHHHH.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now y'all know.
Webster probably doesn't have it anywhere.
Yet.
But yes.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
there you go.
But anyway.
Could be in Wikipedia though, or you know.
Yeah, that yes. Very much, yes.
So that's sort of the story of what I got, you know, when she made that comment to me, it's like, okay, that was my big shift, aha. Yeah, what I'm not is so much of is a life coach. I am that, but I'm more of a wordsmith coach. And so I started working with people, and I get to play with words. I'm doing what I love.
It's like kids play in the sandbox. She plays in the dictionary.
I do. I do.
That's awesome. That is
So
awesome.
that's very fun. And in that process, there was a networking event that I went to and met a gal, and she said, "Oh, I've got this ebook, you know, read my little ebook," and it really was very short, and so I read through it, and I'm finding as I'm reading through her little book that I kind of can't wait to hear what she says next. And, you know, I mean, it's electronic, so I'm not really turning pages, but I mean, it was like I could hardly wait to see what was going to happen next. And by the time I got to the end of it, which was, like I say, relatively short, I felt compelled to do business with her. And so I looked at the book and I said, what is it that makes this so compelling? And I found that there were certain elements that it was almost a pattern throughout the book. Each little chapter contained these elements, and they all made me want to know more. They all, you know, sucked me in and seduced me and wanted
The vortex.
the vortex. So I went to her and I said, did you have a formula for writing this? And she said, no, I just put it together. And I'm going, I am not worthy.
That's what I did.
But, well, yeah. And so I was like, how do people do this? But I asked her if, here's what I see as you know, some recurring steps that you have in your book that make it enticing. I would like to teach people how to write a book like this that entices people to do business with them. And she said, absolutely. And so that forms the basis of my Say It Simply book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I work with now.
Nice. And then that became your company name. And
that's my company
your...
name, Say It Simply. And
I love that.
It's 8 easy steps. There were 8 things that I saw.
And I got to tell you guys,
yeah.
if you're interested in writing a book, you know, to help with your business or just to write a book, this is an amazing book. I mean, I was already well on my way, I think. When we
met,
when I got your book and everything, but I read through it and I was like, this is cool, this is really good. So thanks for writing that, because I know, and I tell a bunch of people, I was like, hey, so when you wrote your book and da 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 da, and I said, well, I mean, this is how I did it, but there's this book out, you know, whether they buy it or not, I don't know.
Right.
But I tell them, I said, this is a really awesome guideline that can help you.
Yeah, and it is. It's a guideline. It's you know, if you're a do-it-yourself person and you know your material well, you can use that book as a guideline to write your book.
Right. That's awesome. So, because I mean, again, I'm not a grammar expert. I don't know the first thing really, but I know what writers looks like. Okay. So, and I know you're on Facebook.
I'm not very active.
Well, but no, that's okay. But sometimes, you know, when you scroll through and you read some of the posts from some people, doesn't that curl your toenails?
Oh, yes.
I mean, if it curls mine, I can only imagine what it does for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there going, I'm like, oh my gosh, have you not learned anything? Were you sick when they taught that in school?
Yeah, it's the fingernails on the blackboard thing.
Oh, it's worse. I think it's way worse than that.
So.
And it's hard. It's really hard. So do you feel like sometimes you just want to go red pen it and it's like, okay,
I do.
Here's the edited version for you.
I know. Yeah, it's like I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I want to go there. But yeah, I am notorious for even just reading a novel, you know, entertainment, whatever. I'm having a good time reading this thing, and they've used the wrong form of the word there, and it's all I can do not to take a pencil and just.
And then I get that. I totally get that, because when it's like in your DNA, pretty much,
Yeah.
which words are in your DNA, it is so hard to ignore that when it's really glaring you in the face. I mean, I probably won't notice it, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? It's perfectly fine. But you'd be like, yeah, no. Well, and here's why.
And, you know and the thing is that, I don't know, it's such a narrow focus. I mean, for me, that's my focus.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of other things that I don't have a clue about. One of them, for instance, being art or graphics, or you know, how something lays on the page, whether, you know, this is going to entice somebody to look at it or follow through, or if this is like, no, it brings the eye to the wrong place. I know there are all those principles, but I don't have a clue what they are.
Right.
And I don't know how to recognize that. And if I create, it's funny because as I create maybe my own flyers or web content or something, I'm all about what are the words? What are the words on the page? And then I need to have somebody else pretty it up, because I don't know how to do that.
Right. No, I get that. I totally get that.
But so this brings to another. Why should somebody have an editor or use an editor? And
because it makes a huge difference.
Well, the thing is that even the editor needs another set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started editing as a profession, I labored over my website content because I am all about those words, and I made sure it said exactly what I wanted to say. I read it over and over and over. Finally, I said done, and I hit publish. And the first person who looked at my website said, you know, you misspelled author on the homepage.
Oops.
It's like, oh. You got to have that second set of eyes.
You do.
Well, and the reason is because we are so emotionally close to our content.
Oh, don't lie. I'm not at all emotionally close to it.
Exactly. Yeah. But we know what we intend to say,
Right.
so that's what we see.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
I
that's
totally
why-
get that.
yeah.
I totally get that. And you know what? I mean, so when I send you my script, it was so funny. Nina was so sweet. So sweet.
So sweet.
Like, you sure me comes out a lot sometimes, you know. But she was so sweet. She said, so, when I send that to you, you're going to see a lot of red. Don't freak out. And I was like, okay. And then I got it, and I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, I suck. You know, but it's not true. It's just, and what the other thing I really like, I love with your gift, on the editing for my book, and I can only speak from my experience here, you kept my voice.
That is critical. I think
You
it's
absolutely
very
kept my
critical to do
voice.
that. Keep your
You know,
voice.
so
and
when you read my book, you cannot tell if this is a Beanie original or if it was red marked by a Nina.
So
You
that's
can't
it.
tell.
Well, and the thing is, it's a lot easier to keep the author's voice when the author has a very strong voice. Not that you have a strong voice, Beanie,
No,
but
no, not at all.
you do.
I'm shy and
Yes.
timid and no, yeah, not.
No, we write oftentimes the way we speak. I once worked for a property developer, and his home country was China. He was from Beijing, and so English was his second language. And I said he spoke very clearly. I could, you know, he had a grasp of the language for speaking. But I said he wrote with an accent.
Oh, that's funny.
So he would draft, you know, a letter or whatever, and then I would fix it so that it looked like it was in English. But yeah, so but even in that, there's some elements of his personality and his heritage that can't help it come through
Right.
in his writing.
Yeah.
And
To me, that's a huge gift on top of the gift of words.
Yes.
You know, because it's like, I'm sure there's editors out there, they're really just focused on the words, but they kind of miss the language.
Well,
kind
and
of.
so where I have to be careful is, another thing that I do is when somebody takes this long to say something, I cut it down to this long because it can be so clear, and you can get rid of the clutter that messes with the message.
Right.
That's when I have to be very careful of, have I gotten rid of what is use, you know, being who you
Right.
are,
Mm-hmm.
and how can I maintain that in the same process and still have it be very clear and concise.
Yeah. I mean, it was
So.
just, to me, it was just a really neat process, the whole writing the book and then having Nina edit it, and then I had my designer design my book. Yeah, my book cover and everything, you know. I mean,
That's so
it's just
exciting.
it is such a neat experience, you know. And the whole thing is just, it's fun. But here's the thing: is like, anybody can write a book. You can write a book, okay? And it probably will be a good book, but it will be better, much better, if you get a second set of eyes, have an editor,
Yeah, have an editor.
you know. And I'm not talking like, you know, 1-800 edit free on Google. Whatever,
Well.
you know, no. Invest the money, and because it's an investment,
It is.
you know,
It's
and it's totally worth it, and it just makes a big difference.
It does. I say that it dresses your message for success. You know, and I mean, I am an editor and a writer, so I spend a lot of time alone in my room at a computer. And in that process, I wear flip-flops and tank tops, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
But when I come to speak, say, to a room full of savvy professionals, I dress in a way that's easier on the eyes and maybe lends a little more credibility to my message. Because the thing is, like it or not, people form opinions at first glance.
Yes.
And what we wear in that first glance can support us or demean us.
Because I think it takes like 3 seconds for somebody to form an opinion. Not on a conscious level,
Right.
but
no,
subconsciously it's like,
yes.
you know, it's either yay or nay, pretty much.
And the same thing is true with our words.
Right.
You know, and I feel like editing is doing that final mirror check before you go out the door. You make sure
Like,
there's not.
is she breathing? Oh no, wait, that's a different kind of check. Yeah, I don't know what
make sure your slip isn't showing or there's not
Right.
spinach in your teeth. And
I mean, there's appropriate. I mean, show up appropriately. You know, it's like, but you know, it's like back with it was like, you know, he's speaking English well, but then writing is a different story. So, and I get that, especially because I mean, English is my second language,
Yes.
even though it's my primary because I speak more English than German. But I learn English second. I learn English in school, and then of course with my husband, and now I'm here. But I get that, and I remember in the beginning, okay, I had the best conversations when I was drunk because I didn't care. But when I was sober, having a conversation with my husband in the beginning, even though I had it in school, I was so insecure, I didn't want to say it wrong.
Right.
You know, and I've noticed too, even when I started writing, the very first, you know, I was like, okay, this is how I'm speaking, but maybe I shouldn't write like this. But I don't know, somehow I decided I'm just going to write like I speak because it's me.
That's what and that's what I encourage people to do, because a lot of people that are writing books, you know, they're writing about whatever their specialty is. You know, they're an expert massage therapist, or they're an expert coach, or they're
Right.
you know, an expert whatever it is they do. Writing is not necessarily their expertise.
Right.
So they think, well, I'm not a writer, I can't do that. It's like, yes, you can.
Yes, you
Just
can.
write as if you were
Write
speaking
like
to me.
write like you speak. Mm-hmm.
Splat your words onto the page, and I'll help you.
And I tell you what, once I decided that's what I'm doing, I mean, it literally just poured out.
It frees you.
It poured out, and I mean, even though I gave myself 6 weeks to write the book, I didn't write every day because I have a life, you know. And there's,
Go figure.
I know, right? Like, meh. But and I didn't feel like writing every day.
No.
But every time I sat down, a whole chapter poured out.
That's awesome.
And I was the most surprised at the end that the whole book turned into a workbook. You know, and then what was really cool is because Microsoft Office now, Office 365 I think it is, they now read your document to you. And it was like so on one of my computers, it's like Steve Hawkins talking to you. It was pretty cool. So having Steve Hawkins voice read your book, I was like, that was really cool. And I liked it. I said, that's pretty good. It's exciting. But when I got it back from Nina, after it was edited and everything, and I had this thing read to me, I was like, oh, this is amazing. No, I mean, seriously, but I mean, it was just like, but I couldn't tell you, I mean, consciously, I couldn't tell you the difference.
Right.
You know, but it was just, I mean, it was great after I read it and had this read to me. I wrote it and I had read to me. I was like, this is good. This is really good.
You got great content.
Thank you. And then, when I got it back from you, and I played that, I was like, hot dog, this is amazing. I mean, it was really, it was a whole different, I mean, it was a whole different feel, but it wasn't. I know it doesn't make much sense, but I don't know.
I've never used the program, so I don't know.
You just hit play. Anyway, but I mean, it was just, I was in awe. I was like, this is good, and I was shocked that I wrote that.
So
To me, that was kind of like an out of body experience kind of thing. I was like,
and yet, I think it does sound like you.
It absolutely sounds like me. It absolutely sounds like me.
So
And that's what I love.
What I love, so the big thing that gives me the greatest satisfaction about working with people and their words and helping them to get a book is to see, look at what you've done and what you're doing. So she gets this book, she publishes it, she has a launch party, she's broadcasting on local television, she's creating a radio show, she's going to replace Ellen DeGeneres. I mean,
Did you hear that, Ellen? I love you.
I just, it amazes me.
Thank you.
There's something about, I think, having a book that gives you not that you wouldn't do that anyway, but the book ends up being a vehicle or a tool for you that enhances the trip.
Right.
That,
For me, the book really was the launch pad.
yeah.
For me, that was real, because when I first walked away, I was like, oh, I'm going to do coaching. I want to put a program together for the first couple of weeks, and nothing flowed, and the universe kept hitting me with the 2x4, because random people kept coming up to me asking me about the book, and I finally said, fine, you want me to write the book? I write the freaking book. You know, give it to me. Delivered. You know, but I mean, it was really that jump, that launch pad for me. You know, it's like, wow, I accomplished this. I've been wanting to write my story and get my story out, but it's really not about my story. That's a fun part, you know. But I knew I had to share at some point. So for decades, I knew I wanted to write the book. And it's just this excuse and that limiting belief and that limiting belief. So, you know, it was like that. But when I was ready, I was ready. But it was really that now I can go bounce.
Yeah.
You know, but to have that book, because it's like, oh yeah, I wrote this book. And people look at you like, you wrote a book? Yeah. Yes, I did. Yes. I mean, it just does something to your self-esteem and to your everything.
And it also acts as it's a catalyst for other things to happen. It makes you more visible.
Right.
You know, it's something concrete in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's valid or not, it makes you more credible. You sort of look at, oh, you've written a book, you must be an expert. Yes or no?
I'm the happiness expert.
In your case, you are.
Thank you.
But it's also, you know, especially for people who are, whatever it is you do, you walk into, say you go into a networking room and you're looking for somebody who is a professional organizer. And there are 3 of them there. And they're all good at what they do. They have great tips and tricks. They do workshops, all of this stuff. One of them has written a book. Who will you go to first?
Exactly.
Who will get invited to deliver the workshop? Right. Who will get invited to speak to the stage before the others? Not that the others aren't worthy of it.
No, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely, yeah.
So,
and the other thing too, I had a really good thought and it just went out the window. Oh, here it is. It came back. It wanted out. It wants to come out. So anyway, but if you want to write a book, say you want to write a book because you have a business or something, or you just want to write a book, don't expect to get rich on that one book.
No, the book is not
the book is not what's going to make you your money. I hate to tell you that, unless you're like, you know, like the next
John Grisham, Stephen King,
Harry Potter lady, you know, whatever. It's not going to make you the money. The book really is just one more tool, one more vehicle, you know, to open up other venues and other ways of revenue to come in for you. So I mean, it is, but it's fun, and it's huge credibility. It really is.
And from your standpoint as the author and the expert of your subject matter, it's also, it makes things really handy for you. I mean, I use my book as a tool. It forms the basis for workshops. It's, you know, if somebody wants me to talk for 10 minutes, I pull this bit out here, that's what I talk about.
Exactly.
You know, it forms the basis for everything, and it's all compact and right there.
Right.
And when somebody says, well, I want to know more, and you don't have time to tell them,
here you go.
Take my book.
Right. It's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So this is so cool. I'm so glad that we met, and then that you're such an amazing editor, and you did a wonderful job in my book. And
it helps to have good content.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't hurt. Thank you. But I mean, it is just really cool. So, and I want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing your love for words. You know, because to me, this is just like, wow. I mean, I love words, and I make up words. I made up a fun word last night.
What word did you make up?
Nerdidity.
Nerdidity.
Because I was talking to my friends from Galaxy Fest, and we're all nerds, and I don't know, nerdidity came out, so it's a word.
I love making up words. I love people who make up words, because
it's just fun. It's fun. But anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here, and
thank you. And I just can't wait to see where this whole
was going.
series of
Me too.
happiness projects is going.
I know, me too. I can't wait to find out. So thank you so much, Nina. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. And I will see you again next time. And Mo just wakes up from his nap right now to say goodbye too. So as always, be happy, be kind, be loved. Have a good one. Bye.